So the Skidpad is just that great tool for just learning about cornering and balance. And all you do is you just drive in this circle, you know? You're just driving a simple circle. But in this circle, a lot of truths about car handling and our natural reactions, good and bad, we can learn just on this little circle. And so it really helps us get a handle on what our reactions tend to be, and then how to overcome them and maybe rewire ourselves with some good reactions.
Gotcha.
You know, and then beyond that even is the ability to anticipate a slide, not just react to the car sliding, but know when it's going to, so you can prevent it from actually happening in the first place. And that's ultimately where you want to head as a driver. You want to be able to drive around very efficiently, very quickly, but without the car sliding. You know, because we know if we slide too much, we're just costing ourselves time. So we'll kind of play around with all of it. So the first thing to look at is understeer. And understeer is the most common type of slide you'll ever get. And as we described in the classroom, that's the one where you've got the wheel turned, but the car's tending to go much straighter than you want. The front tires are sliding. And since they do the steering, when they slide, the car doesn't steer very well. Okay? So we're gonna look at that. I'll show you, once I get the car understeering, that if I turn the wheel more, it doesn't help. The car will still continue to slide.
Right.
And the only thing that will fix it is to slow the car down by either lifting off the gas or lifting off the gas and then braking lightly. Okay, depending on how severe it is. The more severe it is, the less room we have, then the more likely we want to, okay, let's do some braking. Let's really get rid of it fast. Okay. But if I do a good job in recognizing it, I can get rid of it just with a little lift off the gas. So all I'm going to do is,
can you hear me now in the car?
Is be in a circle, and I'm going to drive that circle until the car starts going, and you notice the steering's not going to change, but the car's going to start making a bigger and bigger circle. And that's when we know we're understeering. Because look, it's able to hold this perfectly, isn't it? Right now, but watch as I start to increase speed. If I just gently, look, we're already getting out here.
Right.
See how we're a lot wider? So you probably didn't even feel that. You could only really see it. It's like, yeah, I'm not quite where I was last lap. I'm understeering. So you can just see the car start to slide out wide, and you know you have understeer going on. So watch, we'll do it again a little bit here. Watch, it's just gonna go really wide. Understeer. Turn the wheel more, nothing. Still out wide. Lift off the gas. Watch, now it comes back. So do you see how that all worked? That whole process. So right there in one little understeer slide, kind of proved everything about load transfer all at once. The only way that we got the car to turn was to lift off the gas, get enough load on the front tires, then it started cornering.
Okay.
So steering more will never help. It makes it worse. So you got to get rid of the tendency to want to steer more. So you notice I don't ever steer more with understeer. I get understeer, I just lift off. Look, circle gets tight again. I give it gas. If I give it too much gas, it goes wide. Look, I'm wide. Lift off, haven't changed the steering. Circle comes back again. So it's very benign, but that's because we're going 7 miles an hour in a circle. You could imagine this on an on-ramp or an off-ramp when you're going 50, 60 miles an hour and it's raining.
Gotcha.
It's the same process, but things are happening a lot faster. So you want to lift off the gas right away. As soon as you see your car, you feel that car running a little bit wide. Off the gas, off the gas, off the gas, till you're back where it needs to be. And again, a lot of people will just do the steering ad. They just feel the slide. It's like, oh, the car's running wide. They add the steering. It didn't help. And then they're in trouble out here.
Right.
You know, and they've hit a curb or done something like that.
True.
Okay.
Light pole.
Light pole. You let your imagination run wild. There's a lot of things to hit in this world. Okay, so that's understeer. Now let's take a look at oversteer. Now again, most people when they get oversteer, they do this. The car slides. They look over here, and they end up sliding over to here. So why did I end up here? I ended up here because as soon as the car slid, I looked to the outside to see if I was going to hit anything. Because I looked to the outside to see if I was going to hit anything, I put in too much steering correction. And because I put in too much steering correction, the car went to the outside. It shot to the outside. So instead of ending the slide and just going around the circle like I'm supposed to, we're pointed way down here. So that's the natural tendency for an oversteer fix. Okay? Unfortunately, that results in you hitting the light pole again. So what do I have to do? I have to do 3 things. I have to keep my eyes on intended path, right? So that means on the circle. Keep looking at the circle. I have to put in the correction, that'll happen normally just by me looking at the circle and the car sliding. But I also have to immediately lift off of the gas. So let's watch all three at work. So I'm in the circle, the rear end comes out, I steer, and look, I end up right on the circle, didn't I? So how did I do that? I did that again by doing three things simultaneously. Slide happens, I steer into the slide, but I'm looking at the circle, and see how smooth the end of the slide is? And again, here's the normal one. Here's the normal one coming up. And then it hooks back the other way.
And that's bad.
That's the crash.
That's the crash.
That's the hook slide crash that people do because they're looking out there. They don't straighten the wheel after they put the correction in. They put way too much correction in, and they didn't lift off the gas. And there's an even worse version if you stay on the gas, like I actually am lifting eventually, but watch what happens here. So you got oversteer, hook slide. I'm just gonna stay on the gas. Look how big this one is. Yeah.
This is actually even worse.
Exactly.
You're crossing the median.
That's exactly. This is what happens. People crash like this. As we're sitting here right now, there are people out there in the United States, around the world, crashing cars doing this in slippery conditions, or even in dry conditions if they're going too fast.
Right.
So you could see the massive difference. Let's do one more correct one, and then we'll put you in. Going around the circle. Here comes the oversteer. Fix it. And I stay right on the circle. Then you notice I'm coasting the whole way. And when did I get back on the gas? Did you notice?
When you start moving.
Well, when the slide completely finished.
Right.
So once the slide is done and the car's back on the circle,
and you're straight,
then you're back on. Yeah, exactly. Wheels back where it's supposed to be. So I'm sliding. I'm off the gas, off the gas, off the gas, and now I'm back on the gas again.
Okay.
So that's how you fix it. Completely off the throttle, steer into the skid. How much? You know how much by looking where you want to go. So keeping your eyes on intended path gives you the amount of steering. I'm just going to keep looking, and it's even little ones. And this is where I say, here's a little one. I just fix it right away. Here's a little one. I just fix it right away. You know, just a real quick little fix. Instead of it doesn't need to be a big, huge slide. It can just be a little tiny slide.
Right.
And I'm already fixing it. See my hands on the wheel. Fix it. You know, so all these little things are important. We don't need a slide to be a big slide to fix it. It doesn't need to be way out here for me to do anything. Even if it's just starting to slide, I'm already doing the three things. Do the three things right away, as fast as you can. Lightning reflexes.
Turn into the slide.
Look where you want to keep your eyes looking where you want to go.
What's the first? Look where you want to go.
Simultaneous.
Okay.
Simultaneous. That's why when you practice now, you're going to have to practice them one at a time.
Gotcha.
And eventually you'll be able to do them simultaneously. Okay. But we don't have the mental, none of us have the mental capacity to learn three things simultaneously. It doesn't work like that. We learn one thing at a time. And if we're lucky, we learn them well and we put them together. And